Gifts are almost like a universal love language. It doesn't matter who you give the gift to, it doesn't matter the occasion. A gift will always seem to put a smile on someone's face, unless they're just a very ungrateful and angry person. That's the only time I can see that a gift is just not received well. But even if it's something that you didn't really want, just the thought that somebody was thinking about you is kind of enough to put a smile on someone's face. But what happens when you get a gift that you really weren't expecting to get, that it came with more than what you expected? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about today. All right, let's get into it. So I know it seems like, okay, gifts. What does this have to do with introspecting? It doesn't. I mean, I asked the same question, and Ruach HaKodesh said, speak about it. There was a shift, speak about it. And here's the thing. Whenever we're walking with Yahuwah, whenever he shifts, we shifts. We shifts. Whenever he shifts, we shift. So I'm not going to say the song that some of y'all probably thought about, because I just thought about it too. We're not going to bring that onto this podcast. But basically, whenever he shifts, we shift, okay? So anyway, going back to gifts. So as I already stated, like, gifts are usually very well received from, whomever is receiving them. Gifts are something that, they usually take you by surprise, unless it's something like your birthday or something where, most people bring a gift. But if somebody just gives you like a random gift, it's always like, oh, well, that's amazing. Well, that's what happened to me. So my younger brother was dating this woman. I'm not going to say her name. And he actually at one point got engaged to her. And because my younger brother and I are so close, I'm always like the mom. Like, I always get to know the girl that wants to be in my younger brother's life, because basically I'm sizing her up. Like, I don't know about this one. But for the most part, I haven't really met any that were too far off to the left, except for the one I'm about to tell you about. So this woman came off as just this amazing young woman. She had her own business. She had a nice apartment. She was a single mother, but she was taking care of her kids. So it wasn't really a whole lot that I could say about her, because, she was handling her own. Like, she wasn't on government assistance. Like, she was doing what she needed to do. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with government assistance. I've been on it before. If you need it, then hey, hallelujah, that it's available. But I'm just saying, like, I just want to paint a picture of like where she was. So she was holding it down on her own. And I would go over to her apartment with him. Well, my brother had kind of moved in with her. And I would go over to the apartment sometimes to visit my brother. But, of course, she would be there and I didn't have no problems with her. But in her bedroom, there was these really pretty symbols that went from the ceiling all the way down to the floor. But they never sat right with me. I'm like, it's something about those. Well, come to find out from my brother, there was a lot of supernatural things that went on in that apartment. And now that I have eyes to see and ears to hear, because at the time, I was in a backslidden state. So I was operating off of fumes. Like, I was operating off of stuff that I already knew about Yahuwah's kingdom, but I wasn't really receiving new revelations, and the things that was like right in front of my face, I was kind of blinded to, because I was in a backslidden state. So, and I was self-condemning myself extremely hard. So I was more, consumed with, oh, I can't believe that I had did this, than, getting over it and just, walking forward and receiving that healing. But said all that to say, so I'd never really liked they were pretty. They were really pretty. They're very colorful and everything. But I was just like, I don't know about this. And I said to him, I was like, I don't know about this. This seems a little weird to me. Well, I'm not going to tell you how that relationship ended, but it did end extremely bad. And just different aspects of it. Now, when I look back, I'm like, all of this is starting to click and make sense. So even down to the fact that, she wasn't the prettiest of women, but I mean, my whole thing is like my brother loved her, so I'm like, hey, to each his own. He likes her, he thinks that she's beautiful, whatever. I'm not the one marrying her. So, and I know that sounds shallow. I'm just keeping it real. I was like, yeah, okay, well, whatever. That's what he likes. That's my sister. That's gonna be my future sister-in-law. So whatever. But now that even when he looks back, he's like, man, I don't know what was going on, and just between us having conversations about that whole experience that he had with her, I'm like, okay, what I'm about to tell you guys makes way more sense. So I can't remember what the occasion was, or even if there was an occasion. I just know that during the course of their relationship, mind you, I'm still in the backslidden state, my brother had given me this gift that came from this woman, his, fiance. And it was very nice. It looked like an old cabinet. So basically it was like a wooden frame with like hinges on it and a handle. And then it was glass in the middle of it. And it said, rise and pray. And it had a scripture, Luke 22 and 49, I want to say it is. It's Luke 22 and something. I can't remember the verse. But it was real nice. And, I was like, this is amazing because, I was a Christian. And I was like, anytime, like, she wasn't a Christian and my brother, he was like a half Christian, but I was like, that was really sweet of her. I was like, okay, awesome. So I started realizing that weird stuff was going on in my house and weird stuff was going on, where he was. Well, fast forward to recently. So the house that I live in now, that, gift that I received from the woman, it was literally hanging above the headboard of my bed. Now, it wasn't always hanging there. Well, it was always hanging there, but my bed wasn't always there. So when I first moved in, my bed was on a different wall. And then at one point I moved it to another wall, and then it landed on the wall where this thing was hanging on the wall. And in my mind, I'm like, it's scripture. What a perfect place to have it, especially over my headboard while I go to sleep. This is the mindset that I had, you guys. Well, I started noticing that I didn't have any dreams. Like, I would have dreams. Okay, let me back that up. I started noticing that I would have dreams, but as soon as I would wake up, it's like something snatched them from me. And it would be a very intense dream. But then as soon as I woke up, as soon as I realized that I was awake, all of a sudden the entire dream was just gone. Now, mind you, I'm somebody that has always not only dreamt every night and dreamt very vividly and very lucidly, but a lot of my dreams have been like pockets of stuff that actually wound up happening. So, and this has been since I was a little girl. So for me to not only not remember my dream, for me to not remember my dream, it was very frustrating because I'm like, my dreams always tell me stuff. So I remember talking to some ladies in the truth and I was telling them about this and they were giving me advice on it. They prayed and all this other stuff. So I asked Yahuwah, I was like, come on, please, show me what's going on. Show me what's going on. Well, one night I'm sitting in my room and I'm going to preface this next part with telling you behind my house, I don't know if it's like a sinkhole or a dip or something, but whenever it rains, it fills up with water back there. And because of the position of my house and then the surrounding houses around it, the sun doesn't really get back there. So it's usually kind of swampish back there in that one particular area, which just so happens to be right behind my bedroom. So one night I'm laying on the bed and I live in a house that has wood paneling. Very depressing, but still. I hate this wood paneling. Whoever came up with it, I promise you didn't like people. They had an issue with people. But anyway, so I'm laying on the bed, my son's watching TV, and I was doing something. And all of a sudden, I saw this roach. You guys, I don't do bugs. Listen, I don't do bugs. I have lived in roach-infested apartments, but my apartment, and I'm talking about the entire complex, but my apartment didn't have roaches because I don't do that. I put some borax down in a heartbeat. And the entire 2 years I lived in that apartment complex, I would come home and every once in a while I'd see a dead roach in that borax. But at the end of the day, I didn't see roaches in my apartment. I don't do bugs like that, you guys. So I saw this roach scurrying across the wall. And my bed was almost all the way up against the wall. So all I kept thinking was, and mind you, it's the same color as the wood paneling. So all I kept thinking was, had my bed been any closer, it would have been in the bed. And I'm thinking about, like, what if we had been asleep and this happened? Because it was during the time that we really should have been asleep, to be honest with you. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Right? So I am trying to move some stuff. And I finally get the bed positioned where I want it to be positioned. But then I'm trying to, because I have stuff hanging from my headboard, like, because it's the old school headboard that has like the posts, the bed posts. And on my son's side of the bed, yes, we sleep in the same room together. It's not that big of a place. My son's side of the bed, he's got like his towel and his jacket hanging. And then on my side, I got my towel and my jacket hanging. So I'm trying to like, I'm halfway on the bed and I'm trying to like sling his towel over there, and understand that I may or may not be remembering the story 100% accurate. So just keep that in mind. And I have to tell y'all that because I don't like lying even unintentionally. So I'm letting y'all know that up front. There's a chance that I might be taking two different events and combining them together, but my brain, this is how my brain's remembering it. But just understand the point that I'm about to make next is the main point of the story anyway. So at some point in time, I'm in the middle of the bed and I'm trying to put my son's towel back on the bedpost, and I kind of sling it so it could hang over. And when it slung, I guess you could say, it hit that gift that my brother's ex-fiance had given me, and it fell on the ground, and I couldn't find the screw. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't really look for the screw, but I couldn't see the screw. Like, I looked down there and I'm like, I don't see the screw. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I took it and I had to move that gift to a whole different, I had to put it somewhere so it wouldn't get broken. Y'all, tell me why my dreams came back. Listen, tell me why my dreams came back. And shame on me because I used to practice witchcraft. So I already know. Like, I know better. But remember, when I received the gift from her, I was in a backslidden state, so I wasn't thinking correctly, right? So basically, what I found out was those symbols in her room were runes. R-U-N-E-S. They are symbols for like protection and all this other stuff that witches use. They supposedly hold power in their mind. And she had to have said some type of prayer, and I'm putting up my quotations over that item before she gave it to me. So let me go ahead and give y'all some game real quick, okay? Not everybody that says that they're praying is praying. You'll never hear somebody say, I'm going to cast a spell. Most people that practice witchcraft are very protective of their loved ones. So they cast spells on behalf of their loved ones, whether it's against somebody or whether it's in favor of their loved ones so they can get a job, a car, a house, whatever it is. But they cast spells, but they don't call them spells. You know what they call them? Prayers. They call them prayers. So when you hear people say, I'm praying for you, you need to ask them, well, who are you praying to? Because I don't know. Because unless it's Yahuwah, I'm good. Keep that. And I've actually told people that in the past. Before I fell into my backslidden state, I'd tell people all day long, I don't know who you praying to. Don't pray for me. Keep them. Keep them prayers. Like, and I'm talking about, I said it with no hesitation because I meant it. But remember, I was in a backslidden state. So everything that I knew better, I didn't think to do. But now that I'm not in that state anymore and I'm in a better place with Yahuwah, it's like, it's all slapping me in the face. And I'm like, wow, this woman done put something on this object. Now, mind y'all, as I'm recording this episode, that thing in the trash, I done threw that thing away and I can't destroy it because, I would get glass everywhere in the yard. My dog walks up there, so I just threw it away. But the whole point of the entire episode, and I know this is a lot to say just to get to this one point, but everything you everything somebody goes to give to you, you need to ask Yahuwah if that's something you need to take. So back before I was in my backslidden state, when I was living in that apartment that I was telling y'all about that did not have no roaches. I didn't have no roaches, y'all. Back when I was in that apartment complex, it got to the point where if I could see spirits on you, you couldn't cross my threshold into my house. And just like some people clean up their entire house every Sunday, at least once a week, I was going through that house and I was opening all the drawers and the cabinets. And I was telling whatever was in there to leave. Like, my house was fortified. When I tell you I stayed praying over that house, my house was a sanctuary for me. It got to the point where stuff started trying to manifest in the house. And I'll go into that prayerfully if Ruach HaKodesh ever leads me to. Because when I tell you, I got some stories. But he ain't told me to mention that on this episode, so I'm just going to stick to the topic. But yeah, stuff started trying to manifest. People couldn't come into my house. And I'm talking about really couldn't come into my house. Like, after I would kick stuff out, people that had spirits on them used to have to try to ask to come into, they couldn't come in, y'all. Like vampires, you know what I'm saying? The other thing is, I used to pray over every single thing that I received from someone before I brought it into my house. Now, mind you, I didn't do that in this instance because first and foremost, it was a gift and I didn't even know that he had it until he was already in the house. So it had already crossed the threshold and I invited him in, which means I invited the gift in too. But that thing had a demon on it, y'all. That thing had a demon on it. Now, I don't think that she was intentionally trying to harm me. Because a lot of times people that are practicing witchcraft, they don't understand. Ironically, they don't understand what's really going on in the spirit realm. And I say ironically because a lot of people that practice witchcraft think that they know what's going on in the spirit realm, and they really don't. When I practice, I used to try to conjure demons, you guys, to control them. But how many of y'all listening to this understand that we don't have control over demons unless we have the Ruach HaKodesh? And obviously, if I'm practicing witchcraft, I don't have Ruach HaKodesh. So that's what I mean by witches think that they know the spirit realm, but they don't. They don't know anything about it. They are walking in the spirit realm with an unauthorized spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have the protection that they need to be in that spirit realm, to be operating in that spirit realm. So I don't think that she did it to be malicious, but that thing had a demon on it, because ever since then, not only have my dreams come back, but they've been super vivid and lucid. Like, even the dream that I had last night, it was so real that I thought that it was happening until I woke up and realized it wasn't. And when I was telling my dad about the dream, I was telling him that one of his friends was over at the house in the dream. Now, mind you, I ain't never seen his friend's vehicle before. And I was describing his friend's vehicle to him. And he was like, yeah, that's what he's got, a truck. And his truck is that color. And I promise you, my dreams had stopped. And now they're back once I got rid of that item. Y'all, so listen, go through your house. Ask Yahuwah, because in the way it happened, the fact that I accidentally knocked that thing off and I couldn't find the screw to put it back into the wall, that was Yahuwah showing me, like, nah. And this is after I had talked to these women in the truth, these imas. I had talked to them and they were giving me advice and everything. And I know they prayed. They didn't necessarily pray individually for me right then and there, but they some praying women. I know they prayed about it. At least one of them did. So I said all that to say, all of a sudden, Ruach HaKodesh showed me by having me knock it off the wall, and I had to move that. And then listen, you guys, I'm getting excited because I want y'all to understand, like, he's been showing me exactly the direction that he wants me to go in with this podcast. And I can even see the reason why it was necessary for me to start off with introspecting, because you can't receive the things of Yahuwah unless you have a humble Ruach. If you're walking in pride and arrogance and hate and all the other stuff, you're not going to be able to receive him. I mean, read Matthew 5, verses 1 to 12. I mean, it literally tells you the poor in spirit shall receive the kingdom, or I can't remember verbatim what it says. My memory ain't memorying, okay? But I know that if you read Matthew 5, 1 to 12, you understand what it is I'm talking about. So anyway, I know one of them is the poor in spirit shall see Yahuwah or something like that. I don't know. The meek shall inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah. Something like that. Go read it, y'all. Go read it. I'm just here to let y'all know, like, start going through your house and asking Yahuwah, like, is this supposed to be here? Because there are items in our houses and we're trying to figure out what's going on. Why can't I get over this illness? Or why can't I get over this depression? Or why can't I? There might be a gift that somebody gave to you that they don't, quote unquote, prayed over that has a demonic attachment. And people don't seem to understand that, yes, things have demonic attachments. Items can have demons attached to them. Like, real talk. Real talk. So go through your house, pray over your house, ask Yahuwah to reveal to you anything that's in your house that shouldn't be. And that's actually another prayer it's a prayer that I pray every single night. Yahuwah, remove any unclean ruach from this house that shouldn't be here before we go to sleep. Bruh, he revealed that thing to me. He revealed that thing to me. And I want you all to understand how amazing of a father that we have. He does not want us living bound to the enemy. He will show you those things that are hidden in the darkness that we're unable to see, that the enemy placed there as a snare and a stumbling block for us. He'll show it, but all we have to do is humble ourselves and seek him for everything. And I promise you, he'll reveal it to you. He'll reveal it to you because you want to know how to walk uprightly before him. So he'll give you the desires of your heart because you delighted in him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just the first of what I have to tell y'all. Like I said, prayerfully one day, Ruach HaKodesh will lead me to tell y'all about that, how them things is trying to manifest in that apartment of mine. Because I want y'all to understand, like, we're stepping into a season now where them things that we read about in the Bible, those miraculous things, those supernatural things that we read about in the Bible, that it's just a story in a Bible to some of us because we ain't never seen it before. And I should say some of you because it's never been a story for me. I done walked with Yahuwah in a way, even in Christianity, that some miracles don't happen. So I'm just going to let y'all know, I know what he could do. But set up to say we've moved into a season where that stuff is about to become more commonplace. And I don't mean in the way that it talks about, I want to say it's 2 Thessalonians. I don't know, y'all, where it talks about the false signs and wonders, the signs and lying wonders of the enemy. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actual healing and deliverance and different things like we're supposed to be doing because Yahusha did tell his Talmudim to heal the sick and cast out demons and preach the Besorah to every creature, all the nations. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're supposed to be doing these things. So we're getting prepared for a battle. That's all I'm going to say. So I just want y'all to understand there was a shift. So that introspecting, he told me to move away from that. This is where he's got me right now, you guys. So if you want to get in contact with me, you can reach me at replenishme@gmail.com. As always, much ahava and shalom. And until next time, shalom aleichem.